Welcome to another episode of Jay Leno's Garage. This is a product segment. I want to talk to you about something I think is really, really important. Every vehicle here, my old Fiat over there, which we redid just 4 years ago, has the gas tank pulled out of it. My Triumph over there had to pull the gas tank on that one. This Triumph had to pull the gas tank on that. My Honda Rune over here, which has been sitting for a while, had to pull the tank on that because the fuel systems had completely screwed up not only the sending unit in the tanks, but the fuel filters and the inside of the tank as well, because we have something called ethanol in the gasoline here in California. And it begins to fall apart after just a month or two. And it can ruin your engine, and in older cars, it's even worse. So I have a solution I think is pretty good. It's working for me. Come on, I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is Bruce Hendel. He's what, Director of Sales for VP?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I know this looks like an infomercial. It's really not, because this is something that's hugely important. I was one of those people that just thought, well, gasoline is gasoline. But after having cars that sit for more than a month or 2 months or 3 months or sometimes an entire winter, your whole fuel system can deteriorate just from a combination of bad gas and ethanol. Now, when I put this fuel in, it has a shelf life of what, a year, 2 years maybe?
Minimum of a year, but
Okay.
actually it can be anywhere from 2 to 5 years, depending on which fuel that you put in there of ours.
Okay, but there's no ethanol in it, and it's not going to
No.
eat out my fuel system.
No.
Now, this stuff runs about, what, $9 a gallon?
It's about $9 a gallon out of the gas pumps that you can find that have it
Okay.
in bulk out of the gas stations. Yep.
Now, obviously, that seems really expensive, but it's not as expensive as having to redo your entire fuel system, because these motorcycles I have here, some are 5, 6, 7 years old. They look brand new on the outside, but on the inside, they're all corroded because of this horrible ethanol, especially here in California. Now, obviously, I don't want to fill my tank up at $9 a gallon. Can I split the difference? You know, put 5 gallons of this in to 5 gallons of...
Sure, there's some things that you can do to obviously reduce the effects of pump gas, and using the non-ethanol fuel and blending it, let's say, 50-50, certainly better than running an ethanol fuel at 100%.
Now, if you have a collector car, and your collector cars sit for months and months at a time, but you do start them and take them out occasionally, this is the way to go. I mean, it'll be expensive to fill your tank up once, but a lot of collector cars don't get driven more than a couple of 100 miles a year. So the weight of that versus having to redo the whole fuel system, it's a pretty good deal. There's something I wanted to ask you about. I see all these, like, is this, I think it's this one here. This is the fuel stabilizer. We
Yes.
have ethanol in our fuel here, 10%. They want to go to 15. Let's hope they don't. Now, I put this in. It doesn't remove the ethanol, correct?
Doesn't remove the ethanol, but it masks it, so to speak,
Yeah.
and reduces the corrosion and extends the fuel life to at least 1 year, and depending on the dosage, up to 3 years of stabilization.
Now, something new that you make, if you have a high-performance car, like the McLaren P1 or a ZR1 Corvette or any of those, you make a low lead, or a no lead rather, so
Yes.
it doesn't hurt the catalytic converter.
Correct.
100 octane fuel?
It's actually 101
Okay.
octane, street
Okay.
legal. Yes.
Because here in California, the highest you can get is 91 octane. A lot of these cars really come into their own. You know, it's amazing to me how many people have come by here and said, hey, can I put a couple gallons of your unleaded fuel in my Ducati? Just, okay, and they come back and it's like they had the bike tuned up. They can't believe how much more powerful it is. Because I, you know, like a lot of people, can't tell what's snake oil and what is really legit. Like octane boosters, do they really boost the octane?
Well, there's some that, so let's clarify that. There's obviously ones for racing, off-road and racing formulas,
Right.
and there's one for street.
Right.
The ones for the street, because of the box that they put you in to be a street legal, is very difficult to get a big improvement, if any improvement,
Right.
quite frankly, for a street legal formula. So we've got a product that we came out with called Octane Ium, which is for racing and off-road use only.
Right.
It's not safe for catalytic converters and O2 sensors.
Okay.
But if you had vintage cars and things like that you're running on the track, then this is a perfect product for that as well.
Okay.
This particular product will actually increase about 8 octane numbers.
Wow.
So what you find is that most of the octane boosters that are out there, you're lucky if you get 1, maybe 2 octane number improvement. So this is quite a bit superior than a lot of the other products you can find on the market.
And what do we have here?
This is a product, so do you have any dirt bikes, Jay, or everything you have is on the street? You do anything dirt?
No, usually I wind up in the dirt because I was on this street originally, and then I went off the road
Didn't
into
negotiate
the dirt.
corner very well?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, in case that happens, this is it's called a power wash. It's
Okay.
kind of geared towards the off-road market. So
Right.
so guys racing in the dirt, whether it's
Right.
off-road dirt, Score, Baja, things like that, or guys with dirt bikes and ATVs. So it's just an aggressive cleaner. Once you wash the bike off and you have all the dirt stains left, you hit it with this, let it sit for a minute, hit it with the power washer again, and all that comes right off. And it's pH balance, so it will not oxidize any of the aluminum either,
Okay.
which is a big problem with some of the cleaners. Let it sit too long, turns the aluminum white. You've seen that.
Yeah,
I'm
you
sure.
don't want to use simple green or simple orange
no.
or any of that stuff. It'll
Yeah.
leak through. And you guys are an American company, right? You blend it and you do the fuel right here in
Everything
California?
we do, and it's not in California. Our actual plant's located down in San Antonio, Texas.
Okay.
Been there for, well, next year will be our 40th year.
Okay.
So been around for a little while. And yeah, everything is manufactured in San Antonio.
It just seems like it's the best way to preserve the fuel system of your car. You know, modern cars with fuel injection, the injectors, everything is so tiny, so small, the least little bit of grime or dirt will screw up your entire fuel system. I've had this happen. And it's just a pain. You've got to take them all apart. You know, I've got a Honda CBX back there. And it sat, I didn't ride it for 5 months. I started up, I had to have the choke on to run it down the freeway because it was so clogged. I used cleaners and all that didn't work. I had to pull the carburetors, clean all the jets. What I do now is I fill it with this fuel, and if I drive it 100 miles, I'll put in a gallon or two of regular gas, ethanol, you know, and it's fine. But I always top it off with this, and that seems to work pretty good. So, but Bruce, thank you very much.
You're
Really
welcome.
appreciate
Thank you.
it. Thank you. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Try, believe me, I know what I'm talking about here.
Mm-hmm.